Great. Well, welcome this morning. We will call the meeting to order. We're at 9:04. Chris, did you and Councillor Rose, did you see the agenda?
No, but Bicha told me what was on it.
Okay, perfect. So we can accept the agenda then from memory. Looks like we have consensus on that, so we'll consider that passed. There's no pecuniary interest declared at this point, unless anybody has something to mention. No, so we will move on to the minutes from the 27th of January meeting. Does anybody have anything to add or clarify for that?
No.
None? Okay, we will consider that approved. All right, so we're going down to reports. So under the wire again, we made some minor tweaks, waiting for some confirmation on some details, but the land and knowledge report and policy was still a considered draft until you guys are able to take a look at it and feel comfortable with accepting it as it is or wanting changes or additions before it goes. Talking with Dan, the clerk, I think that the proper order sounds like we would take it, we would then pass that on to council and say, here's the work we've done. And then if council accepts it essentially as it is, or they can make just addition changes, whatever, then they would at that point send it back to Dan to make into like an official policy. So our proposed policy is basically the draft of the official policy once council has had a chance to take a look at it, is the way to kind of look at it. So so it's not, it wouldn't be just that would be it and go forward. It would still need to kind of have the clerk kind of go over it and put it into the format that would be the council format. So
okay.
Yeah, so I didn't know if you had
are you looking for a motion to accept?
Yeah, if you accept that, and then
it keeps cutting out, and I'm kind of losing track of what's going on here.
Do you try to I've had that problem. If you stop sharing your video, that might free up some of your bandwidth, and then you could at least watch us and hear us maybe better.
I'll try that.
See if that works. We'll just have to have verbal confirmation for things rather than waving a hand, if that's all right. Is that a little bit more stable for you?
If you're looking for a motion to accept the draft proposal, then I move that we accept the draft proposal.
Okay.
I will second.
All right, then we will consider that moved. Jeff, do you need a motion? Does that just presume then that will go to council, or do you need a motion saying that we're also suggesting it goes to council?
No, that's sufficient. We can use that adoption to take it to council.
Great. Thank you. All right. The next point is Lost Villages updates. Did you have anything to add there, Jeff?
Sure. So I can just advise the committee that we haven't done any further work on the Lost Villages program. I'm spending a fair amount of time these days on the Motherwell project from the perspective of just making sure that we can recover that brick and use it. And I'm sort of being consumed by the new municipal office project, which is where the brick is going. So I hope I got to get through this little bubble, and then I'll be able to pick up the Lost Villages work, and we can perhaps pick that conversation up again and take it to another level. I will take the opportunity to say, though, that the Conservation Authority owns the Motherwell store, as we've talked about in the past. It was built, we think, in the 1840s, and the store is in very bad shape. It had a major renovation sometime between sometime in the 50s or 60s. A lot of asbestos was used, and the Conservation Authority is currently mitigating that asbestos. They're going to take the store down, and we're going to reuse that 1840s Crediton yellow brick and the feature wall in the municipal office. So I understand the brick was pulled off the building on Monday of this week, and the brick contractor is to take a look at it either yesterday or today and confirm that they can recover it. And I'll say to this committee, if the brick contractor doesn't like the way it fell off the building, because I think they wanted it to fall and hit the ground hard and then it would knock off most of the mortar. If that doesn't work, then I think we're going to have to deploy a crew of volunteers with hammers to knock the mortar off that brick. And I'll come around and pick you all up with coffee, and we'll head to Motherwell on Saturday and work on this brick, because I'm at the point where I'm not willing to lose it. I really think we've got to use that brick. It's a lovely brick, and it's got a really good place to put it. So that's the update.
Is there any concern if it falls that the brick won't, like it sounded like they thought the brick was very suitable and strong enough that if they drop it, that the brick should be okay. It's just we don't want the mortar. Okay.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to. The way I understand the way that works is if they can get the walls to land flat, the mortar separates really well, and then you just have to tap and stack. Right.
Great. So 0.54 is the municipal building update. That you kind of covered that. Is there any other thing to add to that, or?
Yeah, I can. I guess I can do a quick update. We're going to jump another step, but I will do a quick update on the municipal building. So we're certainly still on schedule, and it looks like we're on budget for the municipal building. We've used a little more contingency than we were hoping to use with a few things that have come up with trim, but it's just the way these projects are, and we were under on our material and equipment, furniture and equipment budget, but we knew we were, so we're trying to save contingency for that. So as far as the budget goes, we're coming along. We're about where we thought we would be, and the schedule looks like middle of July to end of July, and
Wow.
And that seems to be realistic on the basis of what I've seen. It's always been an in-suburb delivery, and we will be having another site meeting in the next few weeks, and we'll start to nail down the date. And I'll just say that as far as the connection back to the municipal office project, we've been the clerk's department has been doing a lot of work on records to get ourselves prepared to move to a new office, and we gave ourselves a nice bit of file storage in the new office. But records management is the kind of a number one task for every clerk and clerk's department, and Labitza will be chuckling when I say this. And so the organization has lots and lots of records because we've got this basement. Well, it wasn't functional for a lot of things. It was functional for keeping records and not making decisions and just keeping them. And so now we've gathered a lot of this stuff up and we're sorting it out. We've also retrieved a lot of like artifacts, old pictures and posters and things like that we just had stored and stashed in amongst records. So we're sorting it all. And I just want to say to the committee that we're working to try to identify anything of any historic value. We're looking at it all through the lens of, is it something we should be displaying in the new office, or is it something we should be sending to the archives or storing for some future date? So that exercise is generating a lot more material than I would have anticipated. And one little project that I want to mention to this committee that's come up is we have three plaques in the council chambers that acknowledge the casualties from the First and Second World War from West Perth. And those plaques are, there's a Hibbert, Logan, and Fullerton plaque. And the reason there isn't a Mitchell plaque, as far as I can tell from talking to the Legion, is that the Mitchell names were always on the cenotaph. So Mitchell had chosen to use the cenotaph, and so this wooden plaque that's not, I'm struggling with putting the other 3 plaques up. I think we need to display them in the new municipal office, but I would really like to have the 4th one rather than have a sign say that to see the 4th one, you have to go to the cenotaph. So we've done the research on who the names are, and we've done the research on how to get a plaque that looks the same. It's going to be around $2,000, which is a lot more money than I thought, but they were very lovely wooden plaques and we want them to look alike. So I'm just sorting out whether or not, how we're going to handle that. I'm sorting out, I think the price that we got, we can seek another price, but it's largely the creation of the wooden plaque. And then there's really nice brass fixtures that go on the plaque to match the other ones. So things haven't got any cheaper since those plaques were done by the 3 townships. And I suspect they cost a lot of money then. And again, I think the story is just being told to you to kind of emphasize that we are really trying to be very aware of bringing history with us as we move from an old building to a new building, that we can still celebrate that history and keep it alive. And there's just little things you want to clean up as you go. So that's the municipal project update. I hope for this committee that we will have probably an open house for committees and councils in September. Is the plan. We'll give the building a little time to off gas and get our furniture set up as best we can. We're not going to have it all right from the beginning because it's hard to imagine the space and have everything ordered.
Yeah.
But we've got most things ordered, and certainly we hope that by early fall we can get tours of the building or have an open house or some kind of a opening event that we would invite this committee to.
Great.
Thanks.
Thanks for that. Summer concerts. Well, so we'll go back up one step to 5.3. I don't have a whole lot of deep information at this point. In the years past, it was the BIA that was doing it, and then and I don't know if you're involved with those, Councillor Rose, the BIA meetings or not. But we basically, and when I say we, Councillor Marshall, connected with Councillor Bell a lot and just said, hey, and I think we definitely took some money out of our budget to help that, but the heavy lifting was definitely the BIA, and they, I guess it'd be 2 or 3 weeks ago now, have decided to not go ahead with them, feeling like it's a little bit outside of the BIA area, and under their mandate is really to focus back on the downtown. And so they think it would be a great fit for the culture committee. So I guess that is the that is the question. I don't think it was. It's obviously it's work. There's organization that gets involved, but it's other than booking the artists, getting the spot, and paying. I think is where the big question would come from, is if we have enough budget in there that we would be able to even do a trimmed down version. I think at the height of it, they may have had 6 concerts, if I remember. Jeff just turned his camera off. I don't know if, do we have records of what they did? And again, we're going before COVID, but I think they were aiming for 6. So we may only be able to do a couple based on our budget if we choose to do so.
Yeah, I think I have a couple comments about, I mean, I think, first of all, I think they planned 4 or 6, and they had a couple of weather dates, and they ended up going into September. And we're kind of glad that all happened, because that was that September before we had COVID the next year. So, and that kind of locked all that down. So I would say to you that if you're considering this, a couple things to think about are that, you have to come up with the money to book the artists. You've got to book the artists, which the artists need to work, so that's a good thing. And sound, the artists in sound, and the hydro's there. Then there's a lot of logistics to get set up and taken down. So it does require some volunteer assistance, and Trish has done a lot of work with that, the BIA coordinator. And we could certainly consult her on what needs to be done. And then I think if you wanted to do it, I would suggest you maybe do 1 or 2.
Yeah.
and not sort of, I guess not sort of saturate I think you kind of leave people wanting more, but I think it's a lot of work for the committee if you wish to do one. And I just would emphasize that, and perhaps Murray could gather up some counselors to volunteer to help with setup and takedown, but it is a lot of work for volunteers.
I was also thinking I can reach out to Councillor Bell and try to get brought up to speed, and then I'd have something to share with you, because right now I was never part of that. I really have no idea.
Yeah, and again, Councillor Marshall did, even within our committee, most of the coordination with Councillor Bell. So
I will pick up on
Christopher and I just were like, yeah, that sounds great. Good job. That was kind of our extent of it. Like I attended some. I think Chris attended some. You know, like help carry stuff to the trucks or in and out, but not any really real heavy lifting. So we would need more information about that. The only I guess caveat to that is our next meeting would be scheduled September 22nd, but that doesn't mean that we can't have another meeting. So if Councillor Rose, if you'd be willing to do some, at least, you know, check in with Councillor Bell and or Trish and say, like, this is kind of what we need to do, and then we could have a special meeting in where I guess we should do in May, so we could be prepared if we are doing it in July, August type thing.
I can see if they had something, the preliminaries done, or just what's going on at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I can report to you.
Yeah, and I know, like, even if we, I know, like, Dustin would, I think one time was, if I remember right, and maybe this was the last time they did it, but a time before, where they provided students the opportunity to go out and do a concert, which is really great, and obviously lower cost on, I think they gave them an honorarium, but wasn't, you know, an artist fee, you know, more of a community event to let them showcase their stuff. And then obviously there is work of setting and stuff up, so we can check with them too on that. So.
And I would just mention, Jesse, if it's sort of my sort of closing thought on this is that, you know, this is the part of the committee that's the culture part of the committee, and I think it is a good fit. I want to say how, you know, I recognize that it's a lot of work and staff resources. We don't have a lot of staff that we have on summer hours, and like the way we get the weekend hours with the arena not being open, our recreation is mostly loaded up during the week, and so we can try to provide staff support, but I can't guarantee it. But we may be able to find a student or something that we can change their hours and have somebody that can help with some of the shuttling things around. So I love the idea. I love the concept. And perhaps if Murray did some research with Sherry and came back and even one during the summer and maybe pick the day and pick a rain date, book it all up, and away you go. And if you want to do two, that's fine. But I think they were really well received. So
yeah, and they were very, the few I went to were, I was always surprised at how many were out, for sure.
Yeah.
And again, cost, especially if you're keeping your costs low, there's, I believe they had a place to donate, so they didn't charge for it, but still happily accept donation for whatever people would, right? Like, so, and again, but we're not, you know, you're not talking about bringing an artist for $10,000 or anything like that. So, okay, sounds like a plan. So we will wait.
Contact Councillor Bell.
Sounds good. Perfect. So we covered 5 for the building updates. The additional committee members is on the docket, because I was chatting with somebody who thought that this would be a great fit for her. So she did apply, because the application is like always open. Since we are heading into a municipal election, wondered if we should delay that until after, you know, like once the new term starts, which again, we only meet 4 times a year. So I think it's really only missing one more meeting after this one. And even if she wanted to she'd be a great candidate, like if we do a summer concert series, to say, hey, come in on you can always come and volunteer without being on the committee and kind of have a chance to see what we do. And so I think that would be the plan, unless Christopher plans on retiring before the next meeting and then we're down to 3. But if that sounds reasonable, I think seems like a good plan.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, Christopher, you got any input on that? Are you still keeping up? Did we lose Christopher?
He's unmuted, so we should be able to hear him. Christopher?
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
all I heard
Oh, we have lost him.
from Jesse, I'm having a really hard time with this program this morning. It just about every few seconds it cuts out for a few seconds. So I'm not hearing everything that's happening, unfortunately. Here, I'll put the video back on because Jesse thought that may help, but it's not.
Yeah.
It must be my connection or something, but it's not being good to me today.
Is he able to phone in, Jeff? Do we have that capability?
Yeah, we normally do. And I don't know if Labitza would be able to generate a phone number for us.
Yes, he can phone in. In your original email where you received the Zoom link, if you scroll on the
Yes.
bottom, there's a phone number.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go and get my phone and I'll do that then.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll bounce back to that one. We take a 2-minute pause to reflect on our other 5 choices or whatever we want to do while we wait for Chris. Yeah, because I know he will definitely be. I don't want to go on to the next point because that will be something that he'll really want to be part of.
Yes.
Sorry, if I could be totally annoying here, I'm just afraid that if I go out of this screen to get the phone number, I'm not going to be able to get back into it.
Yep.
Could someone possibly?
For sure.
Thank you.
Let me find. So on telephone. I know there's no 519. Okay, so I don't think it matters. Do you have a long distance plan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't matter. So 1778
1778
907
907.
2071. So that's the phone number. And then we'll give you I guess once you get in there, you get a number.
Okay, well, try that. Ain't technology grand?
And once you get
meeting ID followed by pound.
Okay, you ready? So 851.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
here
I didn't hear any of that.
I'll type it in, Chris.
Any number. Please re-enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
Do we have a meeting ID?
Look in the
Yes.
chat.
Okay.
You have
Okay.
not entered any
I don't know if this is my participant number, if we have individuals or one.
It
Oh,
should be
actually,
fine. It should be
Won't
fine.
matter.
You entered 8
Hang on.
1 9 4 4 6. This meeting ID does not exist. Goodbye.
Oh
Oh,
man.
Christopher, that was a treat. Oh,
I
Christopher.
just,
Maybe we
can I just come and stand outside of somebody's house and look?
Yeah. It's an
in the
internet
window then?
connection. It's an internet connection problem you're having today. No, we're doing this meeting in person the next time. So
Okay.
Great.
perhaps what
You know
we
what,
do,
I-
yes, we are.
I'll just muddle through them.
Okay.
But If you have a specific question for me, you may have to ask twice. That's all.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, we'll move on.
Do you feel confident enough that you heard enough from the concerts and the additional members to move on?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just if there's specific things I need, yes. You know what? If need be, I'll ask you to repeat it. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry
Yep.
about that.
No, that's okay.
I don't know
Yeah,
how to
well-
deal with this stuff. So
Yeah, and the next on the list is the list of heritage properties. So if it really gets muddled, we can always push that into September too when we're in person.
Okay.
Since a couple of months for the heritage properties won't really make a difference for them. So
Right. So I'll share my screen and just mention a couple things to the group of you. There was a question about what heritage properties are identified in West Perth, and so I just want to first of all mention the official plan, the county official plan. So I've got to get the right page up here. Okay, good. So I'm going to share this screen. So the Mitchell Ward official plan identifies properties that that West Perth considers to be heritage buildings or sites designated as being of historical importance. So can you see this page from the official plan? Is it showing up, everyone? And I've
Yes.
highlighted in blue.
Yep.
So the following are the sites, and I thought there were 8 or 9 sites, but there's actually only 4 listed, and I'm going to show you where the 8 or 9 dot came from. But so we got the Hicks House on Ontario Road. We have a dwelling at 38 Waterloo Street, a dwelling at 90 St. Andrew Street, and a dwelling at 98 Huron Road. And as I understand it, there's more specific details about these. And I know that I've done some work on the one at 98 Huron Road in the past. And the requirement is that the historical facade of that building be maintained through any modification, any building modification or renovation. There would be an obligation for the owner to maintain that historical facade. And so I want to just take you then and show you on the same screen. And I should, just before I do that, I should grab this list and put it over here and put that up for you. So in the past, the municipality did a Mitchell architectural walking tour map. And Christopher, you may have been involved in this. It sounds like it's right down your alley. And Gina Edmonds was the chair of this group. And there was information provided on a number of, and I'm just showing the pamphlet when it's folded up, if you can see me on the screen. And then I've shown on the screen capture, I tried to scan the pamphlet, but it cut it off a little bit. So can everyone see the screen? Okay, and so it shows a number of properties, and that 38 Waterloo Street property is the one in the top left here. The 90 St. Andrew Street is down here. The 98 Huron Road is here. It's that 3-dormer gingerbread style. And then of course the Hicks House was on the front cover, which is turned sideways here. And there were some others as well on this second page. And when you fold this up, it makes a nice little 4-fold pamphlet. And these single line drawings of these buildings are lovely. So 153 Ontario Road, 177 Ontario Street, or Ontario Road, 181 St. George, sorry, it's cut off, 177 St. Andrew. And then going back to the first page, there was also that really striking house, number 78 Blanchard, that you'll all recognize from Blanchard with that striking tower, 88 Blanchard, and 62 St. Andrew, which we don't get to see the house very well on that shot, but I'll have it in here, and 149 Ontario. So there's a number of these. This is the 62 St. Andrew Street one, if anyone, let me get that close on the map. I don't know if you can recognize that structure, but in any event, I've got lots of these pamphlets. If we were meeting in person, I would hand them out to you. They were done a number of years ago. They should be updated, but I think this is kind of a 1-2 punch of, trying to celebrate the unique or significant cultural heritage of West Perth. These are all in Mitchell, and at the same time identify 4 that were critically required for some need to protect those facades. So I'll unshare and try to answer questions if there are any.
I'm just of the properties that are on the or in the pamphlet. So only 3 are designated.
4, all 4.
4. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yes.
The 3 houses in the Hicks house.
Right. Now, is there more of a? I'm just sort of trying to approach this from my experience. The other ones on Ontario Street, Blanchard and St. Andrews, are they listed, or do we have a list as opposed to designated?
Yeah, I don't know, and Christopher, this is good because this is the kind of research I could look into. I don't believe that they're listed or designated, and I don't know the Act well enough to be able to say if there's a difference between that terminology. But the only 4 that we specifically identify are identified in the Mitchell Ward official plan, and that's those 4 that I initially highlighted.
And they are designated, but I mean the step below designation then is listing, and listing offers no protection. It's just basically a first step toward should the committee want, or the council want the buildings to be designated. Generally, the list of buildings is 20 times longer than the list of designated buildings, but I just wonder if there are any other listed buildings. Anyway, so obviously I'm asking questions that don't have answers right now, so that's fine. I'll wait.
I think, yeah,
Thank
that
you.
sounds like there is no official list other than those 4.
Yeah.
Would be the short answer.
And I can do some research on whether listing, what the consequences of listing would be. And of course, if we were considering listing, we've got, this
Yes.
set of buildings that we have nicely got very brief descriptions of that make sense for the list. And I think the balance is always, do we cause concern by listing that leads to an unintended effect of kind of someone wanting to take it and change it before they're forced to keep it? And I think that's in communications.
And all listing does is the pretty much the only consequence of listing is that it gives council 90 days to consider before a demolition permit would be issued. It just delays the issuing of a demolition permit for 90 days. That's essentially what listing does.
All right. So if I could, then my suggestion would be if you could leave that with us to do some research. And I'll see if I can search through my list of contacts and find a cultural heritage planner that owes me a coffee, or I owe a coffee to, or will owe a coffee to. And I'll see if I can get a good little backgrounder on the Act and how it applies in planning, and I'll do some research myself, and we can come back and present this to the committee at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Is that what you were hoping for, Christopher?
Sorry, that cut out again, but if you're asking if that's okay with me, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks very much.
Great. That is all we have on the official agenda. So again, next meeting is planned for September 22nd. We will plan to do in person, and surely to goodness we're that much further out of COVID by then and not going into wave at 9 or something. Yeah, so we can call a special meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
so
what I was going to say. We
okay.
can give notice for a special meeting if you wish. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Sounds good. So once Councillor Rose feels that he's got enough fodder for us to chew on, then we can call a meeting and see what we can plan over for the summer before the September 22nd one.
I will keep people abreast of what Sherry and I come up with.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
Good. So if there's no other business that somebody's forgotten to mention, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move. Oh, or second.
Well, I don't know, both. We'll go
I'll take a second on
Councillor
that one.
Rose and a second with Chris, and all in favor is obviously everybody. So perfect. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Sorry about the issues here.
No, that's okay. We'll get there next time. We'll be able to see your face and everything. And I don't know, maybe will we be in the new building by then? Well,
Possibly, hopefully.
half thumbs halfway, right around here somewhere.
If it's September, I sure hope we are.
Yeah, sounds good. Great.
Okay. See you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Bye
Bye.
now.